Hi everyone, Mario here, and thank you for watching my channel. Today I'm going to tell you all the secrets about one of the most important weapons in the tennis game today, the serve. Now in this video I'm going to go through the 8 stages of the serve. These stages are: number 1, the start; number 2, the release; number 3, loading, which is the most important one, and you need to pay special attention to that one, loading. Number 4, cocking. Number 5, acceleration. Number 6, contact. Number 7, deceleration. And number 8, finish. So buckle your seatbelts, because it is exactly what you need to know from A to Z about how to get that world-class serve. But before we start, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I want to point out something very important. You're going to see a lot of things here that you never tried before, so you need to be willing to change. Change comes with a learning curve that has the power to make you miserable for a little while. Why? Because when you change something, it makes you uncomfortable before it starts to feel better. And as a result, your accuracy and level will drop. So be very ready to go through this learning curve, because if you can make it to the other side, your serve will be, as I said, world class. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing you need to know obviously is the grip, and we all know is the continental grip, or shake hands with the racket grip. You can put the racket in front of you, shake hands with it, and this gives you more or less the continental grip. Some players use a little bit more continental, some players use a little more towards Eastern, a little bit towards Eastern. But for the most part, continental grip is the grip you want to use when you serve. Now also very important is your outfit, because the better you look, the better you're going to serve. Just kidding. Okay, so the first stage is called the start. Makes sense? And these are the things you need to pay attention at that starting position. So when you're starting, the way you stand before you toss the ball is very important. So you want to make sure the foot, the left leg, is parallel to the line. You can have it a little bit forward, but it helps the loading position if it is parallel to the line. It helps the loading position because it is easier to turn. If you put it a little bit looking forward like this, then it actually stops your hit from turning, and you're gonna have to pivot the leg to do it. So if you're trying to go through the 8 stages, the last thing you need is more things to think about. So to make things easier, just start with the foot parallel to the line. It will make it a lot easier for you to get into the loading position. The right leg doesn't stand even with the left. It stands a little behind, so slide it back a little, and you want to be about shoulder width apart. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. So this is called the platform stand. It's when both feet are separated. And then some people serve with this stand, and some people serve with the pinpoint stand, which brings the back leg, the right leg, right onto this little spot here. That would be ideal. You don't want to bring it past the left leg. Put it ideally in this little hole here. You can be okay as well if you bring it just even with the other foot. So whether you do the platform stance or the pinpoint stance, both of them can produce incredibly good serves. So stage number 2 is the release, or the toss as we know it. A good trick to learn how to hold the ball when you are going to toss the ball is hold 2 balls in your hand. When you hold 2 balls in your hand, you're actually holding the ball you're going to toss the right way, which is on your fingertips right here. You don't want it like this. You want to hold it as if you had another ball here. Now, the motion to toss the ball needs to start from your thigh. So you hold it the right way, it starts from your thigh, and you're gonna lift your hand parallel to the baseline. You can also go a little bit this way. Whatever you do, don't turn this way and toss the ball. So you don't want to go like this, you want to go like this. It will help a lot the loading position, which is next. And so it will turn your shoulders, and then you're going to release. The release of the ball is actually very important to understand where you release it. Now when you release the ball, you want to release it a little bit above eye level. Obviously, if you release it too low, the ball is going to go in that direction and go around 230, which makes it very hard for you to hit the serve. If you release it too high up, it's gonna go behind you, and then that is gonna be 11, 10, 30, and it's gonna cause a lot of strain on your back. You wanna toss the ball so you can make contact at 12 or 12:30. 1 o'clock is okay as well, but you see it used less and less by the pros today. Now the toss needs to be 6 inches to a foot higher than you can reach. Don't toss a ball that goes way up in the air and you need to wait for it to come down. If you toss it too high, then you're gonna get stuck at the bottom of the swing, which is this position, and you're gonna get stuck there waiting for the ball. And also, it's going to be very hard to keep the momentum and the flow of the swing if you're stuck in the bottom waiting for a really, really high toss to come down. Remember also, when you're tossing the ball, the arm needs to be straight. Sometimes some people bend their arm. You need to make sure the arm it is completely straight as you are tossing the ball. So those are the basics of the release of the toss. Okay, so the next stage is the most important stage in all these 8 stages of the serve. This stage is called loading. If you do this stage correctly, it will set your body up to have the correct position and technique for the next 5 stages. So pay special attention to getting everything correct during this stage. So pay attention first of all, when you start the release motion, the tossing motion, you're gonna rotate your shoulders, so you actually face backwards a little, and your hips. Don't rotate your shoulders without rotating your hips. As you start the release motion, you should feel a distribution of weight of 60% to the back leg and 40% to the front leg. Try not to make the mistake or start the motion, the release motion, and put the weight on the front leg, leaving no weight to this leg, as you need to gather the energy from the ground with 60% of this leg, so you can transfer eventually that energy to the hips, obviously to the torso, shoulder, arm, wrist, and racket. Another very important position is the shoulder over shoulder position. This position is not a position that we should explain and itemize one step at a time. If you grab a tennis ball and you throw it upwards, that will give you the shoulder over shoulder position. The throwing motion is actually not something you want to compare the serve to, but there is a part on throwing the ball upwards that resembles very much how the shoulder over shoulder position looks. When you throw a ball upwards, this shoulder will go lower and this one higher. Remember, don't overextend your hip forward during that loading stage. The hip should almost happen naturally during the loading stage, during that throwing the ball up position, and during the transfer away from the back foot to the front foot. Make sure the elbow follows the line that you see right here. You don't want this elbow to go too high, and you don't want this elbow to go too low. Sometimes we see the mistake of the student getting to this position and opening the palm like this. So make sure that doesn't happen. This position is the loading position. Now, how you get to the loading position is a stylistic preference. You can go to the loading position straight up. You can get to a loading position from down here all the way to here. How you get there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have any benefit to do one or the other. They are both just as good. Now, don't overbend your knees. That same throwing upwards motion should almost illustrate how much you should bend your knees. It is a very common mistake that some people overbend their knees more than they have to. A comfortable bend of the knees when you get into that shoulder over shoulder position is exactly what you want, because once you bend the knee in the back leg, you don't want to get stuck down there because you overbend. You want to be comfortable so you can go up, transfer the weight to the front and jump up. Now we find a lot of teaching pros that take the throwing motion as an example as into how to hit a serve. There are certain parts of the throwing motion that are a very good example as into how to serve. For example, throwing the ball upwards to get into the loading position, putting the weight in the back, and for kids to understand that once they get into this position, before they throw the ball up, teaches them how to load the back leg with 60-70% of your body weight and how to be on the shoulder over shoulder position without thinking about it. But there are also a lot of characteristics about throwing that will not match a serve. For example, throwing will over rotate the hips. When you throw a ball, you over rotate the hips, which is something that you should not do during a serve. There are a few characteristics that do not match the serve, so don't tell the kid, throw a ball, this is how you serve. Now that was the loading position. The next stage is stage number 4, the cocking position. At this point, realize that you're going to be going up for the next 3 stages. Obviously, for this stage to be correct, you need to have a perfect loading stage. So make sure you got everything right in the previous stage, so everything now happens the correct way. There is no way you can correct what you're doing on this one if the loading position wasn't perfect. So this position is the one where now you go from here into this position and you're looking to now go up to hit the ball. At this point, you're gonna feel that the racket head is gonna be pointing to your right leg. The elbow is gonna be pointing up. The hips are still going to be mostly sideways. Sometimes we see the mistake that kids or adults open the hips and the shoulders too early during this motion. The spine angle is very important during this stage. You want to make sure you don't hyperextend your back. A lot of the times this happens because you toss. Instead of staying at 12 o'clock, it goes past that point and goes to like 11 o'clock, and people are looking to hit a ball back there, which will hyperextend your back and it could cause an injury. Also make sure that you are going into the court. You don't want to hit and go this way or this way. You want to get to this stage and you're gonna go into the court. Also at this point, you need to be looking to tuck in your left arm. So you go here and it tucks in right here on your torso. Don't forget, don't rotate your hips to the front. You should still be having your hips pretty much sideways this way, not all the way sideways, but here. And actually in this position is how you're gonna hit the ball. Now in the first 4 stages, you learned a lot of information, so again, be patient. For the next 4 stages of the serve, please click on the link to my right, and after those 4 stages, you will know every secret there is to know about the serve. Thank you for watching. My name is Mario. You can do it.